board meeting, the Siloam Springs City Board of Directors for December 15, 2020 to order. Roll call.
Savington. Here. Smiley. Here. Burns.
Here.
Hunt. Here. Rissler. Here. Coleman.
Here.
Carroll.
Here. Please stand as we are led to prayer by our President Smiley. Remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this day that you have given us, for its blessings and the opportunities you have given Siloam Springs during these challenging times. As we approach the Christmas season, we are mindful of the reason of celebration and reach out to all with grace and kindness. We pray that you will guide and direct us tonight, and we pray that you will watch over our community, our country, and all those that serve and protect us, wherever they may be. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you and good evening. We have a full house. Everybody's trying to show that they're good. Santa's not finished his list, I understand. So, showing up. Thank you, citizens, for showing up. All right, we're going to move on. We have a couple things, some things we need to take care of before we get into our regularly scheduled items or even our public input. First of all, we have 3 individuals with the city that are retiring, and we would like to acknowledge their service and to the city and the years of dedication they have given to our city and the job well done over those years. We only have one here that's here this evening in person. So I'll read the others and then I'll
Mr. Mayor, we have all 3.
They all 3 now?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Aaron? There he is. I didn't recognize Aaron. To be honest with you, I thought you were Charles Bilby sitting back there with that. And I am so sorry for you, Charles. I'm so sorry, but there's something about it. And Sandy is where?
Back there.
She's back here.
Oh, that's it. You're hiding from me. Okay, I apologize. Well, then, we won't get them out of order. We're going to start with Aron Hollenback. I just got to find this because I had them all moved around. I'm going to set them up here, and I'm going to read off each one, and then I will ask you all to individually come up, and then as we're through, we'll take a group picture. How's that sound? Holland here, group pictures?
We'll get a picture.
We'll get somebody to do it. Yeah. And I'm going to read these off the way they were listed on our agenda. Don't know that it ranks by importance, because if that was the case, it'd all be read off instantaneously, because all 3 are equal as far as that goes, their importance to this city. Okay, first of all, upon your retirement, Aron Hollenback, come on down. The city of Siloam Springs is proud to present this certificate to you, Aron Hollenback, and wishes to express its sincere thanks and gratitude for your 24 years of dedicated service. Your wisdom and commitment to excellence will be remembered for years to come. We wish you health, happiness, and continued success in your retirement. I can remember the first time I met Aron. I think all we talked about was lawnmowers.
Yeah, pretty much.
He did the same thing with my wife whenever she was on the board. So he remembered Aron from day one. So anyway, thank you very much.
It's been an honor.
We're going to do that. We're going to keep this the way we're supposed to do it here. Okay.
It's been an honor. It's been a blessing.
Next is,
Hang on, we have
oh, picture. Oh, well, I said we were gonna do it as a group, but let's do it you wanna do it individually? Okay, come on up. Wanna do a group together, or we'll maybe not for the social distance.
You're just get close enough and look this way or look that way real quick.
All right.
Thank you, Aaron.
Sandy, come on down. And actually, now that I remember, these are all in order of years served. Okay. Upon your retirement, the City of Siloam Springs presents this certificate to Sandy Leutjen and wishes to express its sincere thanks and gratitude for your 28 years of dedicated service. Your wisdom, commitment, and excellence will be remembered for years to come. We wish you health, happiness, and continued success in your retirement. It says continued. Have you already retired?
No.
Okay, so you should, as you enter your retirement
There we
years.
go.
Okay, there we go. Okay. There we go. Thank you, Sandy.
We hold this
I think we
together.
can do that.
How about
Yeah.
that?
It takes a team.
That's it.
Keep looking down, and I'm not trying to read anything. I don't know why I'm looking down on the top of my glasses. It's just habit, I guess. All right. Guess who that leaves? Judge Thomas, come on down. Upon your retirement with the City of Siloam Springs, we are proud to present this certificate to you, Judge Stephen Thomas, and we wish to express our sincere thanks and gratitude for your 35 years of dedicated service. Wow, 35 years. Your wisdom and commitment to excellence will be remembered for years to come. And we wish you health, happiness, and continued success in your retirement. Thank you. Well, thank you. So we decided on group, is that right? This is right. We got them all. We got them all. All right.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you.
And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the board.
We had three employees there, people that work for our city that are not the norm these days with the number of years they spend with someone in an organization. And it's not very often that you find somebody with 35, 25, or 28 years. And we are so proud of you all. Come back on a board meeting night or sometime just to say hi. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've got something going on out here. What's going on here? Oh, well. This thing doesn't like me these days or something. It's just a blank screen. Okay. Let's see if I can get by with just my printed piece. All right. Where are we now? That's done. Okay. Next part of our agenda. Oh, wait a minute. And we were going to acknowledge Judge A.J. Anglin, but he was unable to make the trip, or make the meeting tonight. So we want to thank A.J. for his service as he's the newly elected judge, and we thank him for. We anticipate having him serving the city for maybe as many years as Judge Thomas did. All right. So now we're going to move into public input. Public input time is when the public may address this. Let me backtrack. I'm losing my little place here. Make sure you've got all your electronic devices silenced so that we won't interrupt someone in the middle of, I don't know where mine is. It's probably, here it is now. There we go. All right. The public may address the board of directors regarding any item on the consent agenda or any city business that is not listed on tonight's regular agenda. All right, so is there anyone from the public that wishes to address the city board of directors on this night? Sure, come on down. As long as it has to do with city business and it's not on the agenda, so.
I think it's on the agenda.
Come on down, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Tom Lundstrom. I'm 1327 Elm Springs Road, Springdale. I'm here tonight representing my wife, Representative Robin Lundstrom, who's in Little Rock doing her job, which you elected her to do. Thank you. Robin is disappointed she can't be here tonight. She's aware that 2 members of your body are finishing their years of public service tonight, and she wanted to be here to recognize that service, and so I'm here in her stead. So I would recommend any pictures be taken when she gets back. She's much better looking than I am. So the first person that Robin would like to have recognized was first elected to this board in 2012, and he will end his service at his last meeting tonight. So Bob Coleman, in recognition of your years of service to the citizens of Siloam Springs as both a member of the board of directors and as Santa Claus, which is how I first met you. Now therefore, pursuant to the motion of Representative Robin Lundstrom, the Arkansas House of Representatives hereby directs that this citation be presented on this 15th day of December 2020 in recognition of your many years of public service to the citizens and city of Siloam Springs. In addition, Mr. Coleman, Robin has included a small donation in your honor to the Gideons. So thank you very much for your service. Mr. Patterson is going to take these citations over there. I hate to come over there and infect you with Washington County greatness. The second person Robin would like to recognize tonight was first elected to this board of directors in 2006, served 6 years as a member of the board in 2012, was elected mayor, and will conclude his service as mayor at this last meeting this evening. I know that Robin really respects both of you gentlemen, and she does regret not being able to be here tonight to tell you that personally. So Mayor Turner, now therefore, pursuant to the motion of Representative Robin Lundstrom, the Arkansas House of Representatives directs that this citation be presented on this 15th day of December 2020 in your honor and in recognition to your years of service to the citizens of Siloam Springs and the city of Siloam Springs. In addition, Mr. Mayor, Robin has included a small donation in your honor to deck the halls. So thank you, gentlemen, very much for your service.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Robin. Appreciate you, Tom, for the part that you play in helping make Robin the best state representative in the state of Arkansas. We're proud to have her representing us, and proud allowed to share her with us over these many years. Thank you. All right. Now then, we get on to some regular business. Is that correct? Make sure I'm on page here. All right. This is when the public. We've already said that. That's our first public input. Does anyone else want to address the board on something that is not on, that is either on the consent agenda or is not listed on the board's regular agenda? Being none, we will move on with our program, with our agenda. That be the first thing will be the consent agenda, and I will read the consent agenda. A, workshop minutes for December 1, 2020. B, regular meeting minutes, December 1, 2020. C, interagency service agreement, Benton County Convenience Center. Benton County Solid Waste District in the amount of $14,622.48. D is a proclamation declaring National Day of Racial Healing. E is a resolution number 62-20 amending the 2020 budget. F are appointments for the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee. G is airport acceptance for an ADA grant application for construction contract, pavement, marking, rehabilitations. That's the entirety of our consent agenda. Board, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Carol.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented. Second.
We have a second and a first and a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Well, we've already had that opportunity, so now that we've read it, we've got the motion. We're going to move on and vote on it. Roll call.
Smiley. Yes. Burns.
Yes.
Hunt. Yes. Rissler. Yes. Coleman.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Southampton. Yes.
Thank you. Consent agenda is approved. Next, we move to regularly scheduled items. All right. There he is. I was waiting for Ben Rhodes to show up. He usually, before I get started, he's already moved out here. Ben Rhodes, you have Ordinance 20-33, second reading, amending Section 102-21 of the City Municipal Code, rezoning from R2 and R3 to I1, the 900 block of East Harvard Street.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the board and Rhodes Senior Planner. Before you is the second reading of the rezoning request of the 900 block of East Harvard Street. This is going from R2 and R3 to I1 Industrial. The letter that was referenced during the public comment period at the first meeting is now included with your board memo. Apart from the new letter, staff has not received any additional comments on this since the first reading. I would like to note that there was a scrivener's error in the staff report. The total acreage should be 1.70 acres, not 1.80. Just want to make you aware of that. Staff and the Planning Commission continue to recommend approval. I would like to yield the remaining staff comments to Mr. Justin Bland so he can address the drainage issues that were raised by Mr. Hill at the last meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Justin Bland, City Engineer. So since the last meeting, I went out and met with Mr. Hill and along with Public Works, Dennis Kennedy from Public Works. There we go. I've got an exhibit to kind of show what's going on right there. Can we put it up on the screen? Okay. There you go. So this is kind of this part of town. The top of the screen is north. Got Jefferson going from left to right across the north side, and then right through the middle is Highco Street right here. The red parcel is the parcel that's being proposed to be rezoned to I2, and then the green parcel is Mr. Hill's. So the red parcel that's actually under question actually drains west. It drains over here. There's a kind of a low spot here near the railroad track, and it goes across the railroad track and drains over to Washington Street. So it actually doesn't come across Mr. Hill's property at all. But that being said, Mr. Hill does have some issues. They kind of stem from back when Highco Street was approved maybe 30, 40 years ago. We walked it. A lot of it has to do with the railroad. So we had him on our list to do some survey work and kind of investigate it. And we'll get back with him. We'll look at some options and see what we can do there. But anyhow, we just wanted to give you an update on that. And if you have any questions, just let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Justin. Any comments from the audience? Being, state your name and address, please.
Yes, sir. I'm Jason Duggar. I'm the owner of the property located at 548 Orange Avenue. That's where I live. Just here for any questions.
Are there any questions from Mr. Duggar? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to suspend on ordinance 20-33.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Bill.
I move we place ordinance number 20-33 on its second reading,
Second reading.
suspending the rules and reading by title only.
Do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion to suspend? Being none, we will vote on the motion to suspend on ordinance 20-33 second reading. Renee?
Burns,
Yes.
Hunt, yes. Chrysler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Philip?
Ordinance number 20-33, an ordinance amending section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, City Zoning Map, rezoning from R2 and R3 to I1, property located in the 900 block of East Harvard Street.
Thank you, Philip. Now we'll go to ordinance 20-34, second reading, amending chapter 54, annexation, zoning permits. Hello again, Ben Rhodes. This is your last thing to present on a Ben Rhodes Show agenda.
Yeah, I realized that, and I was thinking about that myself. It's the last
really
time
short.
that we have the Ben Road show for previous mayor. Yes, so for you is the second reading of the code update requiring the new annexation permit, as the mayor has stated. So as a reminder, this is requiring that there be a city permit application similar to a rezoning application for proposed annexations coming into the city. The permit would go before the Planning Commission for advice, followed by the board's approval with an ordinance. Staff and the Planning Commission continue to recommend approval of this, and we stand by for any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Any comments from the audience? Being none, I'll turn it over to the board for comments and or questions of staff. Seeing that there are none, I'll entertain a motion to suspend on ordinance 20-34, second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Got Brad?
I'll defer to Mr. Burns or Director Burns.
I wanted to hear his voice. I make a motion to place ordinance number 20-34 in its second reading, suspending the rules and reading by title only.
Read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion to suspend? Being none, we will vote on motion on ordinance 20-34. Roll call?
Hunt,
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Burns.
Yes. Motion is approved. Philip?
Ordinance number 20-34, an ordinance amending chapter 54 land use code of the municipal code with respect to annexation and zoning development permits.
All right, thank you. That concludes our regularly scheduled items and our agenda, and now that we will move on to staff reports. Philip?
Steve Gorsuch is going to update the board on the street improvements and the sidewalk improvements that were done over the last year as part of your 2019 and 2020 goals. We promised an annual report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. Steve Gorsuch, Public Works Director. Give me just a minute here, and I've got a PowerPoint presentation that I'd like to show as I go through the presentation. Very good. All right. Okay, so I'm going to give you an update on the street and sidewalk projects that we did in 2020. And the first one was Lake Francis. This project was finished and open to traffic in February this year. It began around the summer of last year, I think it was August of 2019. Some statistics, it was 900 feet of street that was replaced along with storm sewer piping. So it ran the entire length of the street, so 900 feet of storm sewer. Concrete line ditch, which you'll see on the left-hand side of this picture. It was just a regular ditch prior to that, but we widened the ditch a little bit and lined it in concrete. But to do that, we also had to relocate a water line. So the water line used to run where the ditch is at now, and we had to move it to the other side of the street. And so that had to go first. Then the subgrade had to be dug out. Some places, what we try to shoot for is 2 feet. We'll dig out 2 feet and we'll put in 2 feet of red dirt. In some places on this particular job, we had to go as much as 5 feet. It was just, we had to find something solid to be able to build the street off of. So I don't have any numbers on that, but there was a lot of dump trucks, I can tell you that. Now the water line that was running through there prior was an 8-inch asbestos clay line, and we replaced it with an 8-inch PVC. Next is Simon Sager, Phase 3. We just finished that around October. It was 1,100 feet of new street, along with storm sewer pipe, curb and gutter, as you can see. And then what you can't see is way off in the distance. I'm taking this picture looking to the north and standing where Phase 2 ended. But if you up to the north, I've got a picture of, and I wanted to show this because to me it had a little bit of a wow factor. That's one of the bridges we put in. Those are 3 foot by 10 foot concrete pipes. You could crawl through one of those easily, and the guys would sit up there and have lunch on it when they were putting that thing in. But you can see the crane next to it too. It was a large crane that had set those pieces. Each box was approximately 6 foot long, and this spanned the entire street and then some. So once that's finished, they had to build. They put a concrete apron at the base on each side, at the base of these storm culverts, and then put what's called wing walls, which is just concrete walls that face diagonally. And then, of course, the top was paved over. The next was Tahlequah Street. We did 3 different sections. I only have pictures of 2, but it went from Washington all the way to Country Club. This picture is standing at the railroad tracks looking back to the east to Lincoln Street. This one is standing at Washington Street looking to the east going up the hill near Simmons. That one we did 2,350 feet, which is just about a half a mile of overlay. And the amount of asphalt used was just over 1,000 tons to get what we've got here. Next was this one is currently underway, but this is the Kenwood Street project that is between Highway 59 or Lincoln Street and 412 to Kathy's Corner. The first thing, again, as with Lake Francis, the first thing that had to be done was to relocate the water line. This project's going to have storm sewer, it'll have curb and gutter, it'll also have a sidewalk. I don't have footage on that. I left that out. But this picture is showing, this is toward the end of the water line project. This one, they're right near 412, the approach coming off of 412 onto Kenwood. The new line has been in. It's been chlorinated and it's awaiting lab tests to see whether the line has been properly disinfected. Once that's done, the old line will be abandoned. This line will be put into service. Black Hills Energy is also scheduled to come out because they need to move a 2-inch gas line, and it will go in the vicinity of this water line. And then when all that's done, the infrastructure crew will move in, and they will start tearing out the street in order to put in storm sewer, and then they'll dig out the subgrade and put in new subgrade and then start laying asphalt. I anticipate this project to finish up around July or August next year. There's going to be a lot of work involved, and I think what they're going to get into is the subgrade. There's going to be a lot of subgrade they have to remove in order to, again, to get a good base to build the street off of. This picture is just to give you some idea. This is, you can see this on 412 when you drive by. This is the storm sewer pipe that's going to go in on that Kenwood project. That's all of the storm pipe, and it's quite a bit. So all that's got to be put in the ground first before we can start on the street. Next, I wanted to show this is on Kenwood also, but it's east of Washington. If you remember over by Siloam Collision, that used to be a metal bridge. And you hear the clank as you drove over it, but that bridge has been removed, as you can see, and we put in a new bridge. And what you don't see is what it looks like underneath it is very similar to what I was showing you over on Simon Sager. It's got concrete pipe underneath it, and then they build the bridge around it. So everything underneath is storm sewer pipe, and what you see on the surface is just the paved, the finished surface with a little bit of curb up so that the water doesn't just run off the edge. That project turned out pretty good, in my opinion. Next was over on Meadowlark Street, which is off of, it's just south of Sherry Whitlock in east of Hyco. And there's several sections of that in that subdivision where the concrete is broken and needs to be replaced, but this section in particular needed it the most. So staff replaced an 80-foot long stretch, and as you can see, full width. And that project went really well too. It's a nice looking job, I think. All right, so that was it on street projects and bridges. Next is sidewalks. This one is over on Maple between Harvard and Granite. And staff replaced, there's sidewalk on both sides of the street. And staff took out the old sidewalk and put in new. This picture is looking toward Harvard, and it's on the west side of the street. This is on the east side. And I'm standing almost at Granite Street looking back toward Harvard. This one, we had to just find a place where these guys were working, because this is a company called Precision Safe Sidewalk. They have been working with us since 2016, and they go around and they survey the sidewalks using I forget what this thing's called, a Segway, or it's something you stand on it and it's motorized, and they drive the sidewalks, and they can survey the sidewalks doing that. They get it done pretty quick. And then when that's all finished, they'll give us a report telling us how many sidewalks that we have offsets that range anywhere from a quarter of an inch to 2 inches. And then they'll provide us with a quote to repair those sidewalks. And what they do is essentially, since I do woodworking, it's similar to planing. It's a concrete planer. Rather than grinding the sidewalk down, they just shave it. And you'll see a lot of spots throughout the city where the sidewalk looks, faded from age, but then you'll see these bright spots, and that's the areas that they plane the sidewalk down. So far, they have done everything from Holly Street east to Washington, and from Jefferson to 412. And then I'll talk about, I was going to give you a little update, but just a brief update on what to be expected in 2021, but since I just brought that up, they will finish out the north side of 412. They'll go from Washington all the way to Progress and from Sherry Whitlock to 412. And then we'll start focusing on the south side of 412. The next two slides I'll show are side paths that were put in. These were done by contractors. It was the same contractor actually. But this particular picture is on Holly Street from 412 to Tulsa. This is on the east side, it's by Arvest Bank, and I'm standing near Tulsa Street looking back to the south. It's kind of hard to tell in that picture exactly where this is, but this is the one that runs next to Arvest Bank up there. And then this one is on 412 from Hampton Street, where Bank of the Ozarks is, and then going all the way to Progress. And I'm standing on the west side of this project looking back toward Progress. These were both 8-foot side paths. The one on Highway 412 to Tulsa was 500 feet. This one in this picture from Hampton Street to Progress, this one was 530 feet. And that's all the pictures I have of 2020 projects, but like I said, I was going to give you just a quick update on 21. Obviously, we're working on Kenwood, so we'll finish that project, and like I said, we'll finish it around August. When the crew is finished with that, they will move over to Villaview, and they will rebuild the street from Sycamore Heights to just before the state line to the west. There's a house on the left side of the street. We'll go just past their driveway, and we'll call it done there. Then they will go from Sycamore Heights east to Dogwood, and they'll overlay that stretch of Villaview, and there'll be an 8-foot side path on the south side of the street, which will connect the bike lane on Dogwood to the the head of the bike trail that's north of the wastewater plant. And then the last one, and we may end up having to contract this because we'll see what kind of time we have to do it in-house, but it'll be a fog seal of Sherry Whitlock Parkway from Mount Olive to Dogwood. And a fog seal is the same as what we did on Mount Olive from Sherry Whitlock up to Tahlequah just, 2 years ago now? So it'll look like that. It'll rejuvenate the pavement and bring it back to good condition. And then, of course, we'll restripe it. On sidewalks, there's a big one. There's Washington. It'll go down Washington Street from 412 to Lake Francis, and then turn and head toward the railroad tracks to the west, and meet up with the side path that's on Lake Francis now. And then sidewalk repairs I just mentioned. There's of those ones I was talking about from Sherry Whitlock to 412 and from Washington to Progress, that'll amount to 119 repairs and just under 7.5 sidewalk miles of sidewalk that'll get fixed. So with that, staff is available for any questions, and I'd like to take this moment too to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Lord, I'll just tell you what, I remember my mother tripped on the sidewalk out on Tulsa in front of what was the elementary school at that time, or whatever it is, high school, I guess, on Tulsa Street, there behind Atwoods and whatever like that. Some young boys were playing soccer, and they helped pick her up, get her with Kathy and get her home, and you don't realize how, the one she tripped on wasn't big. But you know, at certain ages, you don't pick your feet up as well as maybe you don't. In fact, you're not looking down because you expect to be able to step out. But those patches, those that are planed down, they look good. It looks like an aggregate shiny. When they're first done, they shine out and they're really nice. And I've noticed them all over town. It seems like wherever I walk, and I don't trip over the one or two that I used to trip over. So thank you, Steve, and your crew for getting that done. Order. Yes, Brad.
Hey, Steve, I just want to remind folks, and I think I shared this with Philip towards the first of the year in Metal Water. We just had some complaints on some of the sunken potholes. And I received an email forwarded to the city administrator, short conversation, and a little bit of patience, and then 80 feet is a lot more than a pothole. And so, and that's happened several times over the past years. It takes time because they're a little bit more significant that people understand. But just specifically from Ward 2, from some of our older neighborhoods that went in and things like that, I know the city is addressing them. And I just want to encourage folks, you know, your emails aren't forgotten. They're there. The city works on them. And I appreciate you guys getting on that because that was put in kind of the same time Bellevue has that same, with the same issue. So I appreciate you digging a little deeper to get that base set in, because in the long term, you know, that's going to save us money. So thanks again, and enjoy the working in the winter, the crew. They look very happy here recently outside.
Yeah, didn't they?
Thank you, Steve, for the update. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Is there a possibility that I could get a written kind of an outline of what you have scheduled?
Sure, certainly.
Okay, and that goes along with our plan, the street plan and the sidewalk plan, or not?
Yeah, that's all in the street and sidewalk plan, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And along with what is scheduled, if you could just give us that rundown in writing of what you just said has been done over the last year. It's impressive. You've done a lot of work this last year, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate the report on it. As you were mentioning some of the streets, I was trying to picture in my head, okay, where is that? And so if you could just give us that overview of what you've done, that'd be great.
Since you brought that up, in 2021, it'll be probably around July. That's the last time the board adopted it, but the street and sidewalk maintenance and repair master plan was adopted in 2018. And in that plan, it said every 3 years that it would come back to the board because we would update the next 3 years. So what you're talking about is in that plan.
Yes, but even just what you've just done this past year, that would be helpful. I think just as a, you know, when we're talking to people out there and things are said about streets, you know, it's just helpful to remind them every once in a while. And I think Hayden has provided that information as well.
You have today about that.
Yeah, I did. So one or the other of you, if that's...
Oh, I can just send you what I read off.
Perfect, yep, that's all.
Right.
Thank you.
Anyone else before he escapes?
Right.
All right. Next, Steve. Oh, you good? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board. So I apologize, I have a fairly long administrator's report. It is the end of the year. So I'm going to give some data points of things that staff has done throughout the year that you don't normally hear about. But before I do that, I do have a electrical expenditure in the electrical department to report. We had pad mount, switch gear, and general inventory line extensions in the purchase of $40,280.63. The November sales tax numbers are in for the month of November compared to the same time last year. We are up 19%. For year to date, for the city sales tax, we're up just under 14%. And for the county, we're up 12% on the month, and for the year to date, we're up 8%. As many of you know, as the governor has pointed out in his various public addresses to the state, our COVID numbers remain high. As of the 14th of December, the statewide numbers were up to total confirmed and probable cases of over 187,000. Total active and probable cases were almost 20,700. To date, over 1,000 people have been hospitalized, 180 have been on ventilators, and the total confirmed and probable deaths related to COVID statewide are almost 3,000. As of December 7th, our 14-day average for number of cases per 10,000 population, we dropped on the list of 8 cities that I've been following, we dropped to 6th, but we are still at 54 new cases per 10,000 people in the city. On November the 30th, we were at 35. On November the 23rd, we were at 45. So we did drop a little bit, but then we ramped back up as of the 7th of December. On the total number of cases in Siloam Springs to date, we are at almost 1,300, 1,272, which would be almost 75 cases per 1,000 population in the city. So the numbers are still high. I still encourage everybody to wear your mask, do your social distancing. We're coming up on Christmas as just like in Thanksgiving, and it's a tough time to not see your relatives and be around your family, but I think we all need to continue to try to practice the social distancing and all the hygiene recommendations from the state and the CDC. At the city level, I think overall we had a good year from the standpoint of COVID, but after Thanksgiving we got hit a little harder than we had seen pretty much all year long. For my year-end snapshot numbers, I'll just run through these fairly quickly, but I just want to give you some ideas about the other things that staff has been doing throughout the year. In the sanitation department, based on our recycling program, throughout the year we saved over $55,000 in tipping fees rather than taking that recycling material to the landfill. It was an equivalent of 93 semi-loads of trash. So our numbers, we saved money by not taking that recycled materials and putting it in the trash. The water wastewater services team has set almost 400 new water meters and completed over 2,700 locates throughout the year. The Code Enforcement Division dealt with over 2,400 cases regarding animal control, property maintenance, and nuisance. The library hosted 178 in-house programs and 88 virtual programs in 2020 and included over 9,000 attendees at those programs. Our Parks Division won two awards in 2020 from the Arkansas Recreation and Parks Association. We won the Facility of the Year for over $500,000 for Memorial Park and Chautauqua Amphitheater. And our City Lake Park won the Natural Surface Trail Award. Due to the COVID pandemic, our Parks Department had to cancel 15 different programs and 6 summer day camps. However, we created some online programs at-home fort building, the Sidewalk Chalk Challenge, bingo, and virtual yoga. And all those programs were very successful from online participation. Our building division issued over 1,100 building, electrical, HVAC, and plumbing permits this year. They conducted over 4,000 inspections of those various components. We issued 105 new business licenses throughout the year. And our new building facilities coordinator installed almost 200 feet of COVID-related barriers, the plexiglass barriers through the city. It was very, very productive from the standpoint, and I want to thank you as a board that you approved the building facilities position some time ago. because we didn't have anybody on staff, would not have had anybody on staff to deal with that issue when that came along, when COVID came along, and we did all of that in-house. The electric department has installed over 270 new electric meters in 2020. They dealt with repairing over 420 street lights and security lights, installed the 45 new light posts along 412 that were damaged during last year's storm. They installed over 15,000 linear feet of overhead high voltage conductors, over 27,000 square feet of underground high voltage, and over 28,000 square feet of underground service wire. The fire department responded to just under 1,000 calls, fire-related calls, and over 2,000 EMS calls in 2020 to date. They had a total hours of training of over 23,000 hours of training. For the police department, our total crime clearance rate for 2020 to date is 83.2%, which is extremely high. On the drugs and narcotics arrest clearance rate, that's at 95%. Our stolen property reports to the police department have decreased 4% from last year. Vandalism and criminal mischief incidents has decreased by 7.1%. And breaking and entering has decreased by 25.5% compared to last year. The Human Resources Department oversaw the purchase of literally thousands of gloves, masks, and everything related to COVID, and dealt with trying to keep up with the CDC regulations of quarantine and isolation, and did an extremely remarkable job in doing that and keeping us in hand sanitizer and mask and all the wonderful things that we have come to love in 2020. Our finance department oversaw the issuance of the $31 million bond issue for the water treatment plant and has managed the application of the CARES Act reimbursement, which was extremely difficult. I haven't heard horror stories from our staff, but I heard horror stories from other cities that the overseers of the CARES money, the distribution of that money, were telling cities exactly what to say, how many spaces to put in there between sentences. No, that word won't work. It has to read this way. They were very, very picky, and we passed that process with flying colors. In the IT department, they've supported 55 physical servers and virtual servers, 256 computers, and have done a wonderful job keeping us together as far as our electronics go. And as you can see, I have a new microphone that works. As far as the staff goes in 2020, we all know it's been a very, very difficult year. COVID created problems that we never saw coming. We had to close city facilities at times. We had to limit the number of participants in this boardroom and at other city events. We had to have people working from home. We had to set up the IT system to have those people to be able to work from home. We required social distancing, required the wearing of masks. But what I want you to know as a board and as the public, I want the public to know that our staff worked extremely well and very hard to get everything done that we did this year. We have an extremely great staff, and every member of staff worked hard to make sure that we didn't miss a step while we were dealing with COVID if we didn't have to. We had to put people in quarantine, we had to put people in isolation, but I think overall we had a very successful year, and if we missed a beat, it was just one beat. We still got a lot of stuff done in the middle of that pandemic. And I want to congratulate staff and thank them for their hard work, and I want you to know how hard they work for you as a board and for the residents of the city. And with that, I'll have a couple last things to talk about. I'd like to say a few words to Mr. Coleman, if I may. Director Coleman, you've been a board member since 2013, and while I don't want to go through all your accomplishments, I do have a couple of things I want to say. I got hired in 2015, and not long after that hiring, one of the first things I heard you direct staff to do was dig a big hole. And we did. And we started the library. We broke ground on the new library not long after that comment. And you were out there with the shovel. And the best part of that day wasn't necessarily seeing you with that shovel. It was seeing the kids come out with their own shovel who wanted to help with that groundbreaking ceremony and get that new library started. And I think that was huge. And in my 30 years of doing this job, doing jobs like this, and having groundbreakings for new city facilities, I never saw a group of kids come out with their own shovels and want to break ground for something. And I just thought that was amazing. The other thing I remember early in 2015 was you mentioning your staff. You're the only board member I ever knew that had their own staff. As a matter of fact, she's here tonight. You made her come. You had to make her come. As a board member and as a resident, Director Coleman, you've given back to this community in more ways than most people will ever know. And that selflessness and that generosity is greatly appreciated on all levels by not only myself, but by staff and by the residents of this community. However, in your honor, we have submitted a proposal to the Financial Accounting Standards Board to rename unqualified audit reports to the Bob Coleman Audit Report, because we know how much you like those reports. We're going to miss seeing you on the first and third Mondays or Tuesdays of the month, but trust me, we'll be thinking about you, and this is going to be the image that we have in our minds when we think about you. And if it's not that, sir, it's going to be this one.
It'll be soon, too.
From city staff, Bob, Director Coleman, we thank you for your dedication to the city and your years of service.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we're not going to get off easy. You've dedicated the last 14 years to serving the city of Siloam Springs. Most of us here are old enough to remember the show Gilligan's Island. And you know that the skipper was a mighty sailing man, brave and sure. You've been the skipper of this board, Mayor Turner, for the last 8 years. And when the weather's been rough and the city's tiny ship was tossed, your courage and leadership prevented the city and the board of directors from being lost. Now, I'm not saying you necessarily sailed the city and the board through rough weather without any scratches on your ship, but you did lead the board and this city on a fateful trip, and you did so without sinking the ship. I talked to a lot of people about you in general, and some likened you to Samson. We couldn't really figure out if it was your superhuman strength or if it was just your hair. And with that, Mr. Mayor, Communications Manager Holland Hayden would like to speak and say a few words.
That was in Branson. That was in Branson. I remember that picture.
For the last 7 years, I've had the pleasure of helping write scripts for park openings, ribbon cuttings, and for more, just for you, Mayor Turner. And for those last 7 years, those scripts have largely gone ignored. Except those times when the mayor delightfully announced, Holland told me to stick to the script, which was almost every single time. It's been my honor, and I was happy to write scripts for you, and I just wanted to also let you know that I have your daughter here on FaceTime with you. So.
I hope that Callie's feeling better. She's been under the weather.
She looks like she's feeling better.
Good.
Mr. Mayor, I also have a couple of other things to present to you and read to you. I have here in my hands a letter from the Arkansas Municipal League to announce that you, at the winter conference in January of 2021, they will be announcing lifetime members of the Arkansas Municipal League, and you are on that list. Congratulations. And that is based on your service not only to the city but to the Arkansas Municipal League. And with that, I have a proclamation from Mark Hayes, the Executive Director of the Arkansas Municipal League. Whereas John Mark Turner was elected in 2006 to serve on the Board of Directors for the City of Siloam Springs, replacing the position previously held by his wife, Kathy. And whereas Mayor Turner served as a board member for the City of Siloam Springs for 6 years, contributing to the city's wastewater system upgrade and helping to grow the city's park and recreation options. And whereas Mayor Turner ran for the position of mayor in 2012 and has served Siloam Springs in that capacity for the past 8 years, and whereas Mayor Turner served on the cities of the large first-class advisory council from 2013 to 2019, and as the league's District Number 3 vice president in 2019 and 2020, and whereas Mayor Turner has displayed his dedication to the community of Siloam Springs through his professionalism, devotion, efficiency, and integrity, and now for the Arkansas Municipal League proclaims our appreciation to Mayor John Mark Turner for his service and dedication to the community of Siloam Springs and for his service to the Arkansas Municipal League. And then, in addition to that, I have a letter from Steve Womack that he has asked me to read into the record on your behalf. Congressman Steve Womack. Dear Mayor Turner, I am pleased to recognize your successful 8-year tenure as the mayor of Siloam Springs, following 6 years as a member of the board of directors. Under your leadership, the city has thrived, and I have enjoyed many visits to the area to see the progress being made. Some of the projects that highlight your time as mayor include the construction of the new Siloam Springs Public Library, the opening of the new hospital, and the $31 million bond issuance for the water treatment plant upgrades. You have admirably performed your duties and served your community with distinction. As a former mayor myself, I know how difficult the job can be, and in my opinion, you rose to meet those challenges. Perhaps the greatest compliment I can give is that you proved to be a worthy successor to the civic legacy of former Siloam Springs Mayor Moose Van Poot. It is my honor to represent you in Congress, and if I can ever be of assistance, please don't hesitate to call me. Mr. Mayor, our staff got together and we got you a thank you card for your years of service, and they would like to give that card to you tonight. It's just a small card.
You didn't sign it? Oh, it opened. Wow.
So that is signed by staff.
So see that, Callie? You feeling better?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Just give me a thumbs up. Okay. Now,
Director Coleman and Mayor Turner, both of you have had a hand in shaping this city over the last 8 years, and you've proven that you care very deeply about this community, and you've made positive differences in the lives of Siloam Springs residents. And don't ever forget that. City staff wishes to thank you both for your dedication and your service, and we wish you the best. And with that, Mr. Mayor, we wish everybody a very safe and joyous Merry Christmas and a very safe and Happy New Year. Thank you.
thank you, Bill. Thank you, staff. I didn't prepare a statement tonight before I turned this over for the director reports. I didn't prepare one. As you all probably know, I spent time in Dallas with my, due to the death of my brother Murray. Anybody like to see probably the best obituary you've ever seen? Give me an email address and send it to me or request and I'll send it to you, because I'm telling you what, Murray always claimed he got the looks and the talent. And when you go through this obit, you're going to realize that he did too. Yeah. I never agreed with him. I never consented to that. But thank you for the patience of me not being around and what have you like that board and stepping in where you did have to do something that thought you were going to have to do, maybe in case I wasn't here. As for regard to the role of the mayor and the city administrator form of government, I don't believe that there's a better form of government, especially for a city of our size, that is out there. And it's real hard to be mayor here because you got to try to make sure you stay out of the way of staff as they do their jobs. And this staff is so dedicated. It just amazes me over the how many years have I been? 14 years I've been there, and 8 years as mayor. One of the things that I can remember as much as anything is when we bring new staff into department head positions or whatever it might be. After they've been with the city for a while, I hear the comment, I've never worked in the city before where the departments cooperated with each other as well as they did Siloam Springs. They do things for them. They share equipment. They share staff. And it's all because I believe they love this city as much as we do on this board in our capacity as the board of directors. You all are amazing staff. Amazing, I'm telling you. And I've never, if you complain, I don't hear it. I'm sure there are some complaints and some grudges, because some of that's hard work, especially different departments. They have to bow to the weather and just the rock where they need to be digging something, and some of them get to play with explosives sometimes because of that. Maybe that's a plus, but I think Philip would. Hopefully Philip would echo this, that he has a staff that is second to none. And I'm going to tell you what, citizens and board, we have a city administrator that is second to none. There is no doubt in my mind. That's one of the proudest moments of my life, was to be able to put together, at the will of this board, a committee to find a new city administrator. And we hit a home run. We hit a home run, folks. And don't forget that. I'm going to be here. Everybody says they'll come back to board meetings. I don't know if I'll come back to any board meetings. Kathy's already starting to fill out the calendar where we're going to be going with our little 1978 Airstream that we have. So if we can get the thing fixed where we can carry water and what have you, we got that all busted on us some while back. So anyway, but it's been a pleasure. But I never dreamed that I would ever be in politics, no way, shape, or form. Even more so than Kathy. Kathy ran for the board, and that was just her personality did not match up for being out of the public and do that. That's just, she'll tell you, that's just not something she likes to do, but she does it good. She did a great job 4 years training me to be her fill-in, and I don't know, hopefully I did a good enough job during those 6 years. But thank you, Kathy. I don't think she's watching. We just got back from Dallas here about 4 o'clock and something. She had to go get dogs and what have you like that, so she's probably already asleep because my salad's waiting for me when I get home. But I like to think that I have been successful in some people's eyes because of what I see in our board, and that is you love Siloam Springs. And it's more about Siloam Springs than it is about yourselves. Don't ever forget that. Please, don't ever forget that. There's only 2 of us that are homegrown here. I believe I'm right in that, Marla. Were you homegrown? I thought you were. I think you're it. Are you homegrown, Lisa? I didn't realize that. I apologize for that. I didn't know you. I'm closer to Marla's age. Yeah, I'm
Wow, sales
Wow.
I'm closer to I remember her at school. No, she's not near as old as I am, so, not near as old as I am. But, no, it's, and there's fewer and fewer of us around that are homegrown. And, we can remember some things. There's been a lot of changes, and there's been very few changes that I'd want to go back on it, back. And, this is a tremendous town. I sell it every place I go, and I'm proud to do so. And when I tell people, say, "Oh, I've been to Siloam Springs," when? Well, it's been 12 years ago, 15 years ago. I said, you wouldn't drop, if we dropped you in the middle of Siloam Springs, you wouldn't recognize it. Well, about 10 years. No, 10 years. In the last 10 years, you would hardly recognize it with some of the things that this board has approved and our staff has accomplished. So, if I'd written something, I probably would have been a little bit shorter. But
you wouldn't have stayed on the script.
I wouldn't have stayed on the script, even if I wrote it. I remember at the Memorial Park opening, was our dedication for that, the groundbreaking as it was, and we talked about it. Maybe it's just an announcement. One of the gentlemen from the construction company said, "Never follow the mayor." Never follow the mayor. So I cut into his time, but it's been an honor. It's been a privilege. And it's been fun most of the time. And I'd recommend it to anybody trying to run for this board. This board is, like I say, our city is set up. The job's really easier than it is with some of the others. And I think it's because it makes for a more efficient organization. But again, I thank Philip for creating an atmosphere with the staff that they want to serve this board, serve this city as much as this board who's elected to do it. And I'm going to leave one thing for challenge to this board. I don't know how you do this, but in November and whenever it's election time, the one thing that just bothers me is signs. And it's not Siloam's problem. This is every place. We got it, but boy, I'd like to see less signs and have them down. I won in 2012 by 66%, and I had 3 opponents. There were 4 of us running. You know how many signs I put out? Nada. I didn't put one single sign in this city for when I ran for mayor. And there were a lot of signs out there. But I knocked on more doors than anybody did, I guarantee. It was physically knocked on doors. We've never had anybody come by here. Well, I did live in your ward before, but one time, now that I'm one of those asking to represent you, knock on those doors, board. Just give those people a chance. I know it's not going to happen. The signs just wear me out. And I'm not being critical of any particular board member or past member or current member or future member. It's just one of those things that I wish we could do without, but it's part of the American way anymore, I think so. And I shouldn't leave on a positive, a negative note, I suppose. And I'm going to miss saying Big City at least once in a good way, every twice a month or something like that. So I'm going to get down and get off my post here, and I'm going to start. I was originally going to start with someone else and change it, but I've changed the order, and we're going to start with Mindy because the order is thrown out anyway. Okay, and so that I'm going to give Director Coleman the last word, and he can do whatever he would like to do with that. But I have enjoyed the time I've spent with all 7 of you all. Some of you a little bit more. Carol was on the board whenever I started, and your new mayor, Judy Nation, was on the board at the time, and I think that you were. Yes, you were. Yeah. And as your new mayor, she's going to do a fantastic job. She won't run and ramble like I do. And Holland, I suspect she'll stay on script. I really do. So, but I wouldn't have it any other way. she jokingly said that, but I think that she kind of expects me to step away from the script on occasion. So I always told her, just give me some bullet points and let me run from there. And she said, I know. I figured that one out. So it's been an honor and a privilege, and something that I wish everybody would at some point in time think about running for the government and on this board to do something with the city. So I'll finish with a little bit whenever I adjourn this meeting, so I'll stop right there. Thank you. And thank you for that card. That is awesome. That's awesome, that staff. Thank you very much. Andy?
Well, thank you, Mayor Turner, for your 8 plus 6 years of service to the city, and I imagine there was some service to the city even before those official years of service, so I appreciate that. Same to you, Director Coleman. Both directly related to city service and indirectly related to city service, you serve the city well. So thank you to both of you. We'll miss having you around every first and third Tuesday of the month. Lots of thank yous and congratulations. Congratulations to Philip and the staff for the good report, year-end report, snapshot. Lots of good things going on. It's easy sometimes to forget how much work goes into running a city. It's easy sometimes to focus on what we don't have and what we haven't done rather than what we do have and what we have done. And there's been a lot of that despite a chaotic, crazy year. That just made the challenge greater, but you rose to the occasion, and I appreciate that. Congratulations to Heritage League on a well-done parade and such a unique idea that I understand no one really expected to go over as well as it did. I live right on the parade route and was driving home from Fayetteville that night about 5:30 and called my husband. He said, I don't know what's going on, but there's some people lined up in front of our house. I don't know. I said, oh no, that's the parade. I may never get home. I didn't have any problem getting home. Got back out about 7:30 and we were able to enjoy the parade ourselves. Saw Santa and Mrs. Claus at the end of the parade. Probably very cold by that time, but they were sticking it out, as were several other parade participants. So great job to the Heritage League for such a great idea, and to the city staff for coming on board and making sure that happened. Thanks to the street department for all the work you've done, for all the work you're planning to do. It's a never-ending job, I know. Job security, right? Let's see. Congratulations to the retirees that we honored tonight. Thank you for their years of service. 75 plus years combined that we saw tonight, so that's wonderful. Looking forward to having the new judge, A.J. Anglin, on board. So congratulations to him and the work that he has ahead of him. Excited to have him on board. And finally, thank you to Robin Lundstrom for the gifts to you all, especially the one in honor of, or that will go toward Deck the House. We're real excited about that. So that gave us the opportunity to raise the award amounts a little bit for this year and start with some money for next year. And from what I understand, we've got about 100 plus houses signed up for this contest, so I'm really excited about that. Talked to my parents today about taking them out next week to look at the houses. Wanted to kind of wait until most of them were on board, and we'll go do the tour. So I'm excited. Thank you, Holland and other city staff, for making that happen. Oh, and one more thing. Downtown decorations. Wow. Looks awesome. My 21-year-old son called me the other day and said, have you seen the decorations downtown? He lives in an apartment right across from Memorial Park. And I said, no, I actually haven't driven that way. I usually go out Sherry Whitlock, so I made a point of driving that way, and wow, really, really neat. Who knew that Memorial Park would be used that way too? But to hear appreciation from a 21-year-old guy, it's a lot. So.
Thank you, Mayor. Director Coleman, Mayor Turner, thank you. It's been a privilege to serve with you all as well over these last 3 years for me. Last night, I had the honor of stepping in as vice mayor and being a part of the Girl Scout Troop 5026. And I was very impressed with the young ladies. They were learning about government, and specifically local government. I had an opportunity to speak with them about how we do and what we do and why we do. And the representation that was there, I feel like we're in very good hands with the future. These young ladies were on top of it. It was good to see that. And I do want to make known that I didn't really request Girl Scout cookies, but I will receive them if they show up. I don't know what I can do legally, but they said they may come, but it wasn't that I requested. I just want to make that known. Concerning the city of Siloam Springs, we as a board have a tremendous opportunity to set the tone, to create the culture that is permeated throughout the city through the employees and how they feel about their work, their job, the thing they're doing. And I just want to give a word of encouragement to us as board members that in these next months and years that we can be mindful of that and just look forward to setting that tone for the great community that we do live in. I don't go out and plow the streets and things like that, but I still feel like a part of it. I'm glad to be part of it. And through that, looking forward to the future that Siloam Springs has and the community that we will continue to be. Thank you.
I also want to thank Director Coleman and Mayor Turner for their years of service and for helping to make Siloam a great place to live. We are very fortunate to live in one of the communities that everybody supports each other. And it's seen not only through our staff and amongst the different departments, but also within how the community gets involved with the different civic organizations and nonprofits. And I just want to say a tremendous thank you for everybody that supported the Manna Center. And, those that retired, if you need a place to volunteer, we'll take you. So, Mayor Turner, you can come see me at the Manna Center, but leave your jacket at home. I just want to say how thankful I am to live in such a wonderful community, that I have the freedom to worship my Lord and Savior, and that I know the people that are involved in the community love it as much as I do. And I wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And I have to tell you about my new Christmas present. I'm going to be a new grandma any minute. So that's a good way to end 2020.
Thanks, Bob. Carol?
This is a little difficult. John, Bob, it's been a pleasure to work with you. You've both been great ambassadors for our community. You've accomplished a lot during your terms. With class, integrity, it's just been a real pleasure to know you as a person, as a friend, and as a board member. We will miss you. And I know you're going to have great things to do after today. But I also want to recognize your wives, because I know what it's like to be behind the scenes when I watch my husband. So I have to commend Kathy and Kathy for being your helpmates and helping us with the city. Thank you very much. I want to congratulate Aron, Sandy, Judge Thomas on their retirement. Merry Christmas to all of the staff of the city. Without you, this would not be Siloam Springs. We would not be able to do the things that we do. You are the biggest, the best asset the city has. I wish all of you a very Merry Christmas. I thank you, Philip, for your year-end stats. Those were very helpful. Thank you, Steve, for yours update. Sympathies to your family for the loss of your brother. I'd like to leave each of you with this little poem. The gifts I leave beneath your tree aren't those that you can touch or see. No toys meant just for pointless play, but gifts to bless you every day. The gift of friendship, warm and true, is one that I would leave for you. Good health and happiness and cheer to keep you smiling through the year. The gift of peace that comes from God, with prayer to guide each path you trod. And when your heart has lost its song, the gift of hope to cheer you on. These are the gifts I leave for you.
Brad?
Well, I'm gonna take us in a different direction, but I will end it with a positive. I requested from the city administrator the ethics complaint, and I heard Director Coleman's comments at his last meeting, and I sat down and gave it some thought, and to be as kind as I can, because I can't talk in jarhead or fireman language in this public format, because it's not what we do here. But two things came to mind. Executive session. So executive session is a term for any block within an otherwise open meeting, often a board of directors, in which minutes are taken separately or not at all. Outsiders are not present, and the contents of that discussion are treated as confidential. That was violated, and that's concerning as we go into 2021. But then I realized, human nature. It's a concept that denotes fundamental disposition and characteristics. I learned this from Director Hunt. Thank you, Mindy, your positive impact. Including ways of thinking, feeling, and acting that humans are said to have naturally. And at the end of the day, as a citizen, as an elected official, we are human beings. I hope going into 2021 that the few executive sessions that we have will be treated as the definition and they have in the past. And as elected officials, we can have conversation and present that at the board. I've said it over and over, and we do our business here. This is our time to speak, right here. This is where we say it. So I've said that, and with that, I thank Director Coleman for his years of service, Mayor for your years of service, and I will say one thing about Steve. The first time I met Steve was in court. I've been out of the military, moved back here. I had long hair, earrings, it was a nice working at Lazy Boy. Had an 83 Datsun by Nissan, because Nissan hadn't come out yet. I didn't have my lights on all the way, got pulled over by a police officer. He gave me a ticket, we had a cordial conversation. I told him I'd see him in court. I did show up in court. Hadn't been driving in about 4 years. Wasn't necessary when you're deployed a lot. And I told the judge, I have no idea who he was. Told him my side of the story. I thought my lights were on. And he knocked that down to just a warning. And fast forward about 8 months later, the police officer showed up at the fire department, which I then had a burr and was working at the firehouse. We had coffee together, and I brought that story up, and he was blown away. And then I met Steve about 2 years later in some city event or something, and kind of laughed about that at that event. So that was my first meeting with Steve. But I, on a regular occasion, try to meet with Steve. He's a man of wisdom. He's traveled the world. He has interesting stories. You're not going to hear the last of Steve. He likes to write, He's a songwriter, and he's a tell spinner, and I think you're going to hear him out there verbally somewhere, maybe on the radio somewhere in the future on some recordings. So we look forward to Steve being around a lot. So I'm going to transition now to what's happening at Memorial Park and Chautauqua Amphitheater, because that was the vision. The vision was creating spaces of quality of life. That is what is occurring right now. Now, as I've gone down there numerous times, and the more lights get added, and I think we've peaked out now, I believe. I am looking forward to the ADA compliant sidewalk with candy canes lined it, and that turning into Candy Cane Lane. It is creating a lot of chatter around town, but it is an economic development also, investing in lights. I've gone to several cities along the corridor, and when we go there, it's an event, right? Bentonville has great lights. Fayetteville has great lights. You go there, you have a meal, you take it all in. We have it better. This layout that we have in Siloam Springs, not only throughout the town, but specifically as you go down St. Nicholas Lane and look to the hillside with the gazebos. I want, and they're coming here, and I want them to spend their money here just like we do over there. And that's how we continue these things going forward. That's the positive of it. Not only us in Siloam get to enjoy it, but people in Northwest Arkansas get to enjoy it. Hopefully they'll spend the night. Maybe make a run at the casino and be so depressed the next day they have to come back downtown again for happiness. Who knows? The potential is endless. But I'm excited. I thank staff for doing that. Those lights are aging, and I'm glad we brought new life to that. So thank you very much. My family appreciates it. It's nice to get elderly parents out and be able to drive around locally that can't make long trips. To take that in, it's just good, positive energy. And I think the snow probably helped tremendously upon that. So thank you very much. And then, as long as it comes with COVID, I just ask Siloam to stay strong, support local business when you can, follow the guidelines, respectfully, place others above oneself if you struggle with a mask. And we have folks in town that struggle with that. I just would ask that if you have any ounce of Christianity inside of you, practice it in public spaces. And enjoy the holiday, and I know God will bless Siloam, and He will bless America. Thank you. All right. Lisa?
I want to say congratulations to Aron and Sandy and Judge Thomas. I worked for the city years ago, and I enjoyed working with you then, and the city should be proud that you guys were city employees here. John Turner, Mayor, I'm going to say, and Rob Coleman, I do appreciate you, and I hope you know that. You both have done a lot for our community, and there's nothing negative I could say about either one of you guys. You're great individuals that have done a lot for our community. As far as our employees, I hope they feel appreciated. We have the best employees. I've worked for 2 city governments and the city of Siloam. We have very caring and compassionate employees. They're always looking out for the citizens. They care about what the citizens have to say. I appreciate anytime I email Philip, I get a quick response. And every time I've had to deal with a city employee, I've heard they're always positive. And that's very encouraging, because most of the times when I hear something from a citizen, it's kind of in a negative mode, and you guys it's hard to stay positive, but you do, and you have to have a servant's heart. I want to say thank you to Director Hunt. I think the lighting, the decorating has done a lot for our community. I took my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, out and about to look at all the lights, and I think she sang Jingle Bells so loud that the people in their houses could hear it. I guess that's her way of saying thank you. But it is needed in a time like this. And so I'm glad to see everybody out and about and enjoying the lights. And I do want to say thank you for the parade. They worked so hard on that parade, and I've seen so many negative comments, but they did the best they could, and I thought it turned out amazing. And I just hope everybody understands a lot of work went into what they did. And I hope the people that put it together don't feel frustrated from the negative comments. People are just in a position that, you know, with the COVID and everything else, we tend to be a little grouchy, but let's just love one another and overlook that, but know that you did an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did write a script, and it was 9 pages long. But Administrator Patterson referred to my staff, who was here with me. It's only 1 page now. So my staff has been with me for 42 years. She's kept me out of the ditch on both sides. And during this 8 years, she's been with me during the good times and the better times. So I'm thankful for that. I thank Robin Lundstrom for her acknowledgement. And about the lights, parks, I'm sure it had to be the Parks Department and maybe some other helps that have done that, but it's phenomenal. I came by that great big hole, Administrator Patterson. I think I saw my hat down there in the bottom of that hole. I'm not going to dig it back up, though. I do have the shovel that they gave me, which is a big, wide scoop shovel. I still have that. Heritage League, thank you so much for what you did with the parade and with Breakfast with Santa. Skeptical I was, but boy, I tell you what, they pulled it out and it was just absolutely wonderful. I want to thank the residents of Siloam Springs for your confidence and support over the last 8 years. Mayor Turner, your leadership has provided great guidance to the board, and I appreciate your service. I think you and I can ride off into the sunset knowing that we did the very best we could for the city of Siloam. To the city staff, thank you. There's no better group of people with whom I have ever had the opportunity to work, for the staff and the employees. It's been an honor to work alongside of each and every one of you. To Administrator Patterson, my highest regard. I too was pleased to be on the board when you came to be our city administrator. There's never been a moment of regret I've had for the yes vote that I was able to give to your confirmation as an employment. You brought our city to a blessed new chapter, and I look forward to seeing your continued vision and success. To the members of the board, it's been an honor to serve with each one of you. We may not have agreed, as Director Burns has said many times, on every item that was before us, but I do have full confidence that in the very end, the best interest of our fine city will serve well. Now, I wouldn't leave Bob if I didn't leave you with something funny, so I'm going to try to get through this one as best I can. Kathy and I were having our devotional time the other day, and she started to read a quote from the book she was reading. And I chimed in and finished the quote, and she looked at me kind of funny as if to say, you're butting into my stuff here, but I did finish the quote. She kind of looked at me, and I told her, I said, I know that quote because the aunt of a friend of mine used to tell 4 of us boys nearly every time we finished a club meeting at her house. That very quote. I think maybe we were 11 or 12 years old at that time. Now the quote goes like this, and many of you may have heard this. As you ramble on through life, brother, whatever be your goal, keep your eye upon the donut and not upon the hole. Let me urge you as board members, move forward with the things that make our city great. That's the donut. And do not always reject those things that would take away from the plans that we've had over the years. That's the whole. I wish every one of you a Merry Christmas and thank you. Mr. Mayor, if there's no further business, I move to adjourn.
Oh, no, that's you. I'm sorry.
No, no, second.
Somebody has to. You did. I did.
You did. That's for the record, you did, Carol. Congratulations. Well, like I say, it's been an honor. A lot more could be said. And I'm just proud of the opportunity that citizens of Siloam Springs gave me to serve them for these 14 years. And that some of them didn't appreciate what I did. They let me know about it. That's their right. And when I say, I'll still say that this form of government is the best one we have for a city our size. And I will still, to this day, beg citizens, if you've got something to say about the city, get it out there where everybody can hear it, not just those on your social media post. All right? I hope we can do that. If it's worth saying, it's worth saying to everybody. I hate to leave it on a negative, so I just say I am proud of the accomplishments that have happened while I've been on board. I didn't get to vote on for 8 years, but I got to vote on them for 6 years prior, and I got to throw in my 2 cents worth whenever I could. And again, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve with you all. But level above that is our staff. They're the level a little bit better than even our board. That's our staff. And the people of Siloam Springs top it all. And there you can count yourself twice now, because you get to count yourself as staff and as a citizen of this great city. And I'm proud of it, and I don't plan on leaving it unless somebody makes me, unless I win the lottery. You've got to buy a ticket to do that, and I've not bought a ticket yet. So, anyway, we're about ready to go. Y'all ready to go home? We have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And I'm going to say it. We are adjourned. Woo pig. Sue.